Hey, good morning, everybody. Oh, and Michelle's here too. Okay, well, you get to come along with the ride for the intro then. Yay!
Great.
Well, welcome to live TV, everybody. Welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, with my amazing co-host, Michelle Cooling today. We want everybody with an invisible condition to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never, ever alone. And, here on Invisible Condition, we get it. Some days can just be tough, they can be hard. Your condition can sometimes get the best of you, but there's always hope. So if you are struggling with that, let me know because I want to help. We want to help. Michelle can help. I can help. Hope is a beautiful thing. You got to hold on to that hope. So let me know if that's a struggle, and we can help you. So one other thing that I want to put up here on the screen for you is is where people are watching. Because you never know where people are going to be watching from. So if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, welcome, hello, welcome to the show. If you have questions or something Michelle or I say, you, like light bulb, or hey, that's not what I've heard, or hey, you want to talk about it or whatever, we're going to put a QR code up here that'll lead you to Michelle's website where you can find a calendar link to get on a call with her, or you can just put a comment in Facebook or YouTube and we'll get back to you. So anyway, we want that interaction, by the way. So this is all mind-blowing stuff that we always talk about with Michelle. So if you have questions, please don't be shy. Throw it out there and let's talk about it. So hi, Michelle.
Hi. It's nice to be here from the beginning.
Yeah, you know what? I hit the button and just both of us came here. So I said, okay, well, let's roll with it. I didn't
That's
want you to be there and then I take you off. People say, whoa, where'd she go?
it.
So yeah. So let's see. Where is your link? Your link is right here. That's the one we want there.
Yep.
Okay. Yes.
While we're at it, might as well introduce ourselves.
Do it.
Um,
Yeah.
for those who don't know, although I've been here a long time, so there's lots of seasons with me. And I started my journey trying to learn how to heal from physical health conditions mostly. I was a mystery to the regular doctors, a lot of holistic providers, very big name doctors as well. And I didn't give up. I kept searching for answers and believing and having faith that I would find them. And so over time, I was able to advocate for myself in different ways through the medical system and found out I had an autoimmune disease, a genetic disorder, very serious allergies, and lots of other things. And so I began addressing those. And that led me on a very long rabbit trail of trying so many things, so many different products, so many different protocols, so many different diets, so many different um, holistic things, from acupuncture to sound therapy to, whatever. And I was able to mostly manage my symptoms. So a lot of people that knew my story of going from being bedridden for years to like having a life and looking healthy, that was miraculous in and of itself. And at the end of the day, however, I was still managing my symptoms. And that's where I just found that there is still something missing. Like if I have to take all these expensive supplements all the time and I can't eat gluten, dairy, corn, soy, nightshades, blah, 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 and I have to do all these other things, like, oh, I have to have special water that's purified, but not reverse osmosis because then I get too dehydrated. It's like the nuances of what it took to live
Oh yeah.
was
Yeah.
overwhelming. So that's where I found, what am I missing? And it all led to diving deeper into nervous system regulation and other systems in the body that regulate everything. And so if I am in survival mode and I am dysregulated, then no matter what I'm consuming or not, or whatever, my body is still compromised. And so that led
Mhm.
me down a very beautiful path to actually within a few months being able to eat all the foods, I reran my tests. They were all normal, like meaning no sign I've ever had an autoimmune disease, no sign I've ever had a genetic disorder. Like,
Love that.
listen to that, genetic disorder.
Hello.
And to this day, I've been healthy, off meds, off supplements, and the lab test to prove that it worked. So that really became a huge passion of mine, to just dive deep into knowing everything I could about that and what controls the nervous system and the other regulatory systems in the body. And it's really grown into something very beautiful now, where we're helping people not just with physical ailments, but with struggles and challenges in life, because survival mode affects our parenting as much as it
Oh
affects
yeah,
our physical bodies, as much as it affects marriages and communication, and
man.
our ability to maintain our careers. And so we're we're developing this, we're translating it into kid language so that we have a children's curriculum. So we really teach a lot about consciousness, like human consciousness, and about what it is to follow Jesus, who's love, not religion. And
Mm.
what does it look like to get ourselves, mind, body, soul, into a state where we are just functioning optimally and we
Yep.
really are free to be ourselves, and we're free from trauma, and we're free from shame, doubt, fear. We're free from insecurities. We're free from the societal icky stuff. And what does that look like to really live in the highest, like in the
Nice.
highest way we can? And so that's a lot of fun.
Beautiful. And so, what are we talking about today?
I think we are going to continue on our series of trauma, because it's
Yes.
a big topic.
Ugh,
For
yeah.
those who are interested, a couple weeks ago, we did one on trauma. We introduced some cool concepts about belief silos.
Yep.
I'm going to talk about belief systems, and we're just going to continue educating from a different perspective on what trauma is and why we're still impacted by it like we are. And we'll see where it goes.
And that's really exactly, and that's really what we're doing here is giving you education to watch any of these episodes can help you. Like these are little encapsulated lessons of, here's what you may be experiencing, and here's how we would be able to help you.
Yeah.
And it's just a little preview, of course. You don't get everything in an hour. That'd be crazy. But it gives you enough that you can say, you know what, I think that could help me. Let's meet with Michelle. Let's meet with whoever else on the team is doing the meet and greet with everybody, and let's learn some more about this.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Yeah.
all right.
Super
Well,
cool.
trauma, bring it on. What are we doing?
Cool. So, recap on a concept so we can build on that.
Yeah.
We talked about belief silos last time.
Hmm.
And I like to describe those as like, they're these, like, if you picture like a cement silo that's holding whatever it is, a container of water or wheat or corn or whatever, right? That is what we have around our trauma. So it's like we craft these indestructible or nearly indestructible fixtures that wrap around our wounding and our traumatic experiences. And the
Okay.
design of that is to keep us from experiencing that again, right? Protective
Uh-huh.
mechanism, but it's also designed to keep, it's like insulating the trauma. So we're not really working through the trauma.
Right.
We're surviving the trauma. So it is in and of itself a survival mechanism. And we demonstrated one of Jeff's belief silos of like digging that up from a trauma and what that led to, which is like, I have no choices. I have no good choices. And
Right.
which is a victim mentality, which we don't normally think about. And you get to watch Jeff kind of let that go and come into a higher, well, the highest love perspective on that. So what I want to spend this time doing is really talking more about what is the mechanism of these things. And
Nice.
and there's many different ways we work with those core subconscious beliefs or unconscious beliefs or belief silos, whatever you want to say, belief systems of silos. There's many different things, but I think when we can understand what's happening and the mechanism of our mind, we can start to get out of the loops of our mind that those silos create. And it's
Nice.
kind of like a hamster wheel. All you got to do is like,
Yeah.
it's like step off the hamster wheel. But that's like hard to do, especially when you
When
don't
it's
even know
moving.
you're in it
Yeah.
and when it's moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
a way to disengage from that and step out very easily. Plus, you actually can get rid of the hamster wheel altogether. I think that's something that the
Right.
world isn't talking about. Like we think
Right.
in trauma work, you're always going to have these traumas, you're always going to have these tendencies, you're always going to have these triggers. And the best that we can do for you, and I was taught this, right? The best that we can do with you is teach you coping skills. That way, when you're triggered, at least you know how to like de-escalate, or at least you know how to cope. And we're not talking about coping. We're talking about a complete removal of the entire silo, a complete removal of the entire hamster wheel, so that
Yeah.
you don't even have that network in your mind over time. You don't even have that network as an option to take.
So
Um,
that reminds me of sort of the difference between and I don't want to upset anybody with this because I know this is a very sensitive topic that I'm going to say, but with recovery, right? Like with drug addiction or alcohol addiction or like Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous,
right,
it's like once an addict, always an addict. You're always going to be in recovery, right? It's always recovery.
right,
And what you're saying is that recovery could be a silo that you don't necessarily need to live in for the rest of your life. You could actually
right,
be free from the addiction instead of just in recovery all the time for the rest of your
right.
life, which I realize it goes against everything that anybody probably watching this has heard about recovery from that kind of thing. So,
Right.
so I realize this is going to be a big topic, but
Yeah.
just
And
thought
very
I'd throw it out
triggering.
there.
Yeah.
So
And there's also the identity that is
that's
taken
huge.
on and
Yes.
wrapped up into these belief silos. And so
Yes.
once you have identified with that, it is very hard to get out of. So it's like,
Yeah.
and I have referred people to the 12-step programs, different
Yeah.
different
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
programs like that. And I've done that because they were not ready for this work. So this
Right.
is not a replacement to medical care. This is not a replacement
No.
to addiction treatment. Like you need that. But when you have gone through the 12 steps a few times, or you've been sober for a year and you have that level of a foundation, this is likely the deeper work you need to be going into so that you don't become the likely statistic that
Right.
of
Right. Yep.
yeah.
All right.
So okay, so the mechanism that I first ever began working with in belief systems were systems around identity, actually.
Okay.
And we can have beliefs about all kinds of things from politics to religion, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm not talking about that. We might get there at another point,
Yeah.
but right now
Sure.
we're just talking about beliefs about our own identity.
Right.
And I've worked with thousands of individuals in this capacity and have learned so much in my own experience doing it myself, working with people one on like me, witnessing their process and facilitating it over like 16 plus years. So this, I
Nice.
know that matters to some people. So I try to say it if it helps people know how to listen. Um, so in our mind,
Yep.
we have a processing center.
Hmm.
So everything that we experience is processed, and I'm going to describe what that process is.
Okay.
Most of us, I mean, I'd say all, but I don't know that for sure, so I'll just say most. Most of us, we inherit genetically and in other ways, behaviorally, socioeconomically, we inherit a survival based paradigm of living.
Yes.
So, and there's been studies with mice, right, that we actually pass down in our genetics and epigenetics markers for trauma, and it
Hmm.
affects us behaviorally.
Hmm.
And so, and it affects our perception, how we respond to things. So, more on that later.
Yeah.
So, what happens in our processing plant is we are constantly analyzing, is this good, bad, right, wrong? Do I like it? Do I not? How do I figure this out? Is there anything from my past that tells me about this? Who am I? Like when we're young, before the age of 6 or 7, It's
Right.
also, who am I in the world and how do I
Yeah.
survive in the world? And we're looking to our family and our parents and our, social circles and all of the stuff that we're like a sponge absorbing. So before the age of 6 or 7, we're actually developing these core beliefs about who we are. And when we know who we are, then we know how to relate to things.
Yeah.
So that's, at first we have a reflected sense of self. We don't really think we're separate than our parents, like when we're infants and babies.
Mhm.
And so, if you look at your parent and they're smiling at you as a baby, you're like, great, I'm smiling and the world's happy.
Yeah.
If they're frowning or upset or whatever, it's like, I'm frowning and upset. So we don't have that separate sense of self, even from our caregivers, like
Yeah.
psychologically. That
Mhm.
develops later. And so we're developing this sense of self. And there's all kinds of things that happen in that development. But essentially, we create our core beliefs about ourselves. This is things like I'm good enough or I'm not good enough. I'm lovable or I'm not lovable. I'm worthy and valuable, or I'm smart and capable, or all of the opposites of these things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trustworthy, I'm not, like whatever. And so, the whatever is happening happens, and everything that happens, we create a core belief about ourselves before the age of 6 or 7.
Okay.
What I have discovered after working with all these people is we all have the same negative core beliefs. None of us believe we're lovable, even if we know it to be true intellectually. And we have ways of testing and verifying this, and everyone fails the same tests until they go through the process and switch them, and then they pass the tests magically, right? And
Okay.
so we have what happens. It's all filtered then after 6 or 7, once these core beliefs are established. That
Mhm.
becomes our filter. It's like a pair of glasses that we wear.
Yep.
Every core belief is like a pair of glasses. That's how we see the world. Those beliefs are real things that are like tangible and live in your brain,
Yep.
like actual brain matter. And so once that becomes the filter, our beliefs automatically produce emotion, which are neurochemicals, and thoughts, which are neurochemical impulses like running through our brain.
Yep.
Our emotions and our thoughts create perception's a good word, but a way of being, an automatic
Mhm.
reaction. So it's our gut instinct can often not be intuitive. Our gut instinct is often tied to our traumas and our beliefs and our just initial reaction.
Right.
Very
Yeah.
narrow-sided. It's not from a whole brain state of creativity and seeing the full picture. It's a very narrow reaction reflex response, like in
Right.
the animal part of our brain, the lower thinking part. So now I have this way of being, like being defensive or being on guard or being shy or being insecure or being whatever our normal ways of being are. We develop those. By the way, we call that personality, and we think it's fixed. It's not. I know that's triggering, but we can't rabbit trail yet. Okay, so from our way
I
of
was
being,
gonna say you got to be careful with that.
I know, well, maybe that'll be in part 3.
Whew.
From our way of being, we have a panel of options for behavior. So it's like I picture a horse when they have those blinders on. So all they
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
see is like this narrow thing. So they're not distracted. It's one of those. So we have
Yeah.
all of these things, like through our beliefs. We're limited through our belief. We're limited through our emotions. We're limited through our thoughts. We're limited through our way of being. And that's all the limits to show us what behavior we can exhibit. Also, per last conversation we had, that's what we see as our choices.
Right.
So we
Yep.
don't see all of our choices. Literally, our brain tunes them out. So have you seen the mechanism of like, once you buy a new car, all of a sudden you notice them everywhere. You're like, I never knew there were so many of these same cars, right?
Exactly.
That
Yep.
mechanism, it's actually called the reticular activator or
Mhm.
reticular activating system. This is all neuroscience.
Oh yeah.
And we've
Yeah.
known this for so many decades. So that system is the filter. So it makes us blind to anything that's not true or relevant. It only lets in what proves our already existing beliefs true. Let me say that again. I will only see in reality what already proves my beliefs true from before the age of 6 or 7.
And I think a lot of people would accept would agree with that in a lot of areas of life, but not all areas of life. That particular activator example, like, of course, everybody knows that. You buy a red, a red Ferrari, and now all you see is red Ferraris on the road, right? That's how it works. Or you want to buy that car, and so that's what you see now until you buy it.
Yep.
People accept it in that category, right? In that way, in that area of life. Emotional, social, emotional, the parts of your being that nobody talks about at parties. Nobody wants to talk about it with
Right.
that. They don't think it applies there. And it so does.
It does.
Even more.
Everywhere.
Yes.
I know. So your whole life of what you think is your life is all of these very narrow, limited views, even cognitively, physically, neuroscientifically,
Yeah.
of you can't even see all the things that could be because you're in the hamster wheel of these belief cycles.
Yep.
Yeah. And so then it's like, so many people witness the same event. They all come away with a different way of describing it or a different perspective, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's because we don't see things the way we see they are. We see things the way we are.
We perceive them in a certain way
Right.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So when you can actually uncover what is that core belief I have about myself that has me perceive life the way that it is, only see the options, blah, blah, blah. It's like if you could buy all of the cars titled the beliefs I want to have and then see those everywhere in life, that's what we're doing with people's brains.
Yes.
And it's very, very cool because we've had, especially in cases of trauma, so helpful. We had a woman, one of my favorite stories, she was raped. That was part of her trauma. It led to dysfunction in her marriage for years. She was afraid of men, obviously. She had a hard time speaking up at her job because she tended to be really timid. So she always missed out on the opportunities to put herself out there because everyone else jumped on it before she did.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. She had health issues. She had done everything and tried everything and none of it worked. That's like why she came to us. So we walked through identifying a core belief about herself because we know that it's actually, this is going to trigger people too, but it's like, if what I'm saying is true and the healing that I'm going to describe is actually possible, isn't it worth setting aside everything you think you know about trauma? Because everything you think you know about trauma is from the limited view of all of your beliefs. So perhaps we can relax for a minute and I know you'll feel the cognitive dissonance and a lot of resistance to what I'm saying, but it might be worth it if the outcome gets you out of the hamster wheel you're in. Yes. Your current experience with trauma, I know I'm prefacing, this is a big long preface. I know your current experience of trauma is challenging, but your current experience of trauma is because you're in a hamster wheel of trauma. If we could take you out of that, you would actually have a different experience of trauma like the people that we work with, where freedom is available.
Yep.
Okay, so when
I just wanted to see where in this we could take just a short break for me to.
Now's good. Yeah, let's do it now.
Now that we've kind of built, like we've qualified it, right?
We're qualified. I'll nail them when we come back.
And then as soon as I bring Michelle back on the screen, we will. We're not actually going to a commercial. I'm just gonna acknowledge a couple sponsors, and then Michelle will be back, and we can keep on rolling. So, so thank you for the setup, and we will be back to hit it out of the park here in just a minute. So, all right, awesome. Okay, everybody, listen up. I will make this quick because I am excited to every time I'm on with Michelle, I'm excited because it's all amazing stuff. And I want to get back to it. So here's what we're going to talk about for just a minute. Now this is oops, nope, that's not what well, anyway, hopefully you can see that because I'm not sure where the other one is. There it is. That's the one. That's the one I want. The dark, so you can see it. There we go. So I know I've talked about this before, and I'm going to keep talking about it because it's amazing, okay? It's just something that makes so much sense. If healthy home has been so cool, and we are still tiptoeing into this world and experimenting and figuring out what works and figuring out what can help. And so, believe me, I will keep you posted as my journey continues in this world. Um, but the bottom line is the products and things that Healthy Home uh, has available are there to help your body do what it already knows how to do. It's just helping it along. It's kind of adding rocket fuel to the rocket that's already getting ready to go. And so it's just going to make it better. Whether you need repair of some cells in your body, or whether you need to balance hormones or improve circulation or improve the appearance of your skin or the health of your joints, it's all boils down to a couple simple things, and Healthy Homes got it figured out. So scan the QR code, or even better, call this number, and a very nice woman will pick up the phone and answer all your questions. And then no pressure at all, just answer your questions, and then you can go check out what's going on. So, all right, that is one thing. The other thing I want to talk to you about real quick is our nonprofit, because we are gaining some traction on this, man. We Hydro with Hope is a nonprofit that we launched. Oh, I think, what was it, 4 years ago, something like that. I think it was like 2022, which is unbelievable. It's before we launched the show. We launched the nonprofit. And if you know people that are living with a condition called hydrocephalus, which is the condition that I was diagnosed with at 2 weeks old, and has resulted in 7 brain surgeries and 15 surgeries overall. It's been kind of wild, but here we are. We're still here. I have developed this journal, this fill in the blank journal, to walk people through this experience of, what kind of surgery do I have to have? I have to have brain surgery again? Yes, sometimes brain surgery is a thing, and this journal can help you through that. And I also, my wife and I, Catherine and I, speak around the country and around the world about this, and want to give people hope that are in this community. So this QR code right here is a donation link. Just going to say it. It's a donation link. You can donate monthly. You can donate one time. We love you either way. We appreciate every and any donation that you see fit to give our organization so that we can help people. So thank you for that. And all right, let's bring Michelle back on so we can continue with this story here that we are telling, because it's good, and we've got the build up, and now we're gonna hit it here. All right,
Yep.
what's next?
Okay. The reason you're affected by trauma is not because of what happened to you.
What?
The reason you're affected by trauma is not because of what happened to you.
Not because of the trauma itself,
right.
but
It's because of the program in you that started running.
before the trauma ever happened.
Well, also
programming.
that likely, yes. But in every trauma that we encounter, it's after the age of 6 or 7, right? We filter that through our limiting beliefs to further reinforce them, and to create new ones, and to create new survival programs that are running. And after, or if we create the trauma before we get those core beliefs set in our system, we create core beliefs. We create meaning. We create a story around what happened. And it's interesting because if we think logically, the trauma isn't happening now.
Right.
So it's like, so that's not affecting me now. So if there is something going on in me right now, there has to be something I can point to right now that's happening right now. And that's a survival program, a core belief that's producing emotions and thoughts and a way of being and limited choices. It's a hamster wheel. It's a belief silo. And so when you can talk through what happened all day long, and you can do EMDR and a whole bunch of other stuff around the trauma of that event, and still have hamster wheels. So we
Okay.
take an opposite approach where we don't have to relive all the trauma. We actually deal with the hamster wheels first. We deal with the belief silos because that's the program that's actually running, that's keeping our current way of interacting with reality stuck in a trauma-based pattern. If you take out all the trauma-based patterns, it's much easier to function. It's like that's the thing that's affecting you anyway.
Right.
So a lot of people have already talked through, processed, done therapy on the events themselves,
Right. Yeah.
but they have done nothing with the core beliefs that are still running. Addressing the core trauma does nothing to change the core beliefs that are running.
Hmm.
So we're actually focused on the wrong part of the brain. We're focused on the memory center where
Yeah.
memories of the trauma were. We're not focused on the part of our brain that actually holds the beliefs that create the whole hamster wheel. So it's a different
Huh.
part of the brain. So we can
Okay.
look at the original trauma from a very safe and regulated place, and we can work to heal that. And what's really cool is we're essentially separating the facts of what happened from that negative core belief that started.
Yeah.
And the core belief is where the pain is, because that's where the emotions and thoughts and ways of being and reacting and hurting and blah, like that is what the experience is, not the
Mhm.
facts. And so oftentimes, especially when we're in trauma, we're not rationally thinking with our frontal lobe
Oh
from the
no.
higher perspective of
Uh,
how to like understand it, right? So all of um our memory transcript was written from a very limited survival based place. So when we can actually go and revisit that and remove the belief silo hamster wheel, and we can actually then look at it through the highest perspective of love and safety and our frontal lobe in a whole brain state and a regulated safe space, we actually see the event and we feel the event and we think about the event in an entirely different way. So the woman I said about the marriage, and then I know you're percolating, we'll get to some
yeah.
questions. So she came in, she had been raped, lots of dysfunction. We talked about that before the break. After working through one or two belief systems and switching those core beliefs about herself, such as I'm lovable and I'm worthy and valuable and I'm whatever we worked on, she came back and said, like after 1 to 2 weeks, she's like, I was like, hey, how's it going? Have you noticed any changes? She's like, yeah, I have no more pain associated with the memories of being raped. I don't
What?
emotionally feel traumatized. I remember what happened, of course. I can tell you all the facts and details. It's like telling you a movie.
Yeah.
Like the trauma, the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings, all of that was able to be processed. So she said, I was able to speak up and I got one of the opportunities at my job this week because I just spoke
Nice.
up. I don't know how I did it. I just did it. We didn't work on that. We just switched the hamster wheel, right? So she said she went out to a function at work. They had dancing. She was asked to dance by a man. And she was like, sure. And she danced with this guy. And she's like, then I just realized I looked around the room and I saw men as men, not as threats. She's like, I don't know how to explain it. My perspective of men just was different. That's the level of root we're talking about when we address the core beliefs. And then she was able to, be intimate with her husband, whatever. That was different.
Yeah.
And it's not like we had talked through, let's try to have you see men as men. Let's try to have you speak up more at work. We didn't
Yeah.
talk about any of that. Why? Because all those behaviors were just a symptom. And it was actually the core hamster wheel root of the in the brain that was causing that whole thing to play out. When we addressed the root, she just saw stuff different. So people are working through these traumatic memories in like a session or two, like just a process of going through the original trauma, seeing from the higher perspective, getting rid of the hamster wheel there. And then we
Mhm.
go through like the different parts in the brain where we kind of proved that negative belief true. and we just switch it in the memories that pop up. And by the end of that time, we ask him, okay, is there any other reason why you don't feel lovable or valuable? Or is there anything you think that could happen in life that could make you feel that way? And we work through that. And at the end, it's like, do you feel that you're lovable and valuable or worthy, whatever we're working on? And they're just like, yeah. And we ask them, like, okay, so do you have any more emotional pain associated with these memories? No. And then it's like, do you really see, right? Like buying the car, do you see that your past, your present, your future totally different now? And they're like, yeah, like nobody believes me when I say this stuff. But I ask them every single time after going through this process, did I tell you the truth? Like, do you see it differently? Do you feel
Yeah.
emotionally about it differently? And they're always like, yeah. Like, I don't know what magic you did, but like, and it wasn't easy to go through the process, but it was fairly quick. And they're like, yes, I do. And then it's like, then they just start reporting to us, yeah, all of a sudden I started getting up earlier and like taking a walk with the dog. Like I don't know why I haven't been able to do that before, but all of a sudden it's just what I wanted to do. Like they start describing that their behaviors are different and their perceptions are different and that they're just not triggered about the same things. So I wanted to share this
Nice.
story
Yeah.
because it's like I think stories tell a reality and a truth that we can't explain otherwise.
Yeah, it's almost like the empirical evidence, right? You can't prove it clinically, you can't prove it in clinical tests or whatever, but empirically, obviously, this person's different. Like,
Yeah.
of course they are. She's dancing with men that she used to think were evil and a threat every time
Right.
she saw one, right?
Which
And now
never
she's
happened
dancing with
20
one.
years. Yeah.
What?
For
Yeah,
20 years, this husband has known her one way
right.
because it happened before they got married.
Yeah,
And now all of a sudden, right? Like his wife is freed up in that area. Like
amazing.
this is so cool. And yes, tests do show people are healing
Sure.
magically, but it's like I think we're not in society, we're not talking about how these things are connected neurologically
Yeah.
and how every adrenaline response or cortisol response or survival response that we have literally affects every cell in our body. Of course, we have illnesses.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, well let's hear from your percolating mind what questions you have.
So those of you who have been watching for a while know that this is going to have something to do with the movie. So the only thing I could think of was The Croods, right? The movie The Croods, right, with Nicolas Cage and all the right with the cavemen, right? And there's a spot where and no matter what the spot is that you pinpoint in the movie, right? It's like, okay, you're watching them like run from the predator and that wants to kill them, and they're searching for food, and it's like and it's so I'm thinking. You tell me if I'm thinking about this right. It's the difference between you feeling like you are Grug, the main character, right? The guy, like the dad, that you are him and you are running from the thing that wants to kill you and always pursuing food and always starving to death, and or are you the person in the movie theater watching and observing the movie and saying, oh, that's interesting. Look what's happening right there. But it doesn't affect you in the same way as it's affecting that character, right?
That's a good way. Yeah.
It's you're more at you're in the observatory. You're observing. You're not experiencing it. You're observing it,
Yes. Yep.
kind of,
Which
right?
when we're just caught up in our experiences, we don't have awareness.
Because
We
you bring
really
yourself back to that experience every time, and you're in it.
right.
If you're not, yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
then
you can't observe what's happening. That is one of the first shifts is like learning how to become that observer for sure. And then it's so neat we have technology available in the world where we can work through trauma and
yeah,
shift those belief silos, those perspectives, those operating systems.
yeah,
And it's like if you have to tell yourself something like positive thinking or being an optimist or taking the faith-based approach of like, well, I know God works everything together so good, so I know it's going to be okay. No, you don't. If you have to convince yourself, you don't believe it. So
Right.
we're working on aligning our brain and our body and our inner knowing, those kinds of beliefs, with what we consciously know and want to believe and say we believe. So it's like if I have any emotion or thought or reaction in me or behavior in me that is not what I wish it was, there is a belief silo causing it. If we know that, we can
Okay.
then go hunt those. And it works just like the lower levels that we've talked about before
Yep. Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
soul map of like shame, what is shame and what is pride and what is fear and what is anger and what is, what are those lower states of consciousness.
Hmm.
Once you know to look for those, you can get rid of them. This is the same, they're beliefs. And so if we
Nice.
know that everything at the core of everything that isn't the way I want it to be, that isn't healthy, that isn't in love, that isn't what I say I believe, like it's not consistent with my values, there is a belief there. And we can actually find it and switch it. Like in one conversation, we could teach you how to do it
Yeah.
for yourself. And so that's what's so cool is like that technology exists and people can do that. And we can get rid of all of those negative limiting subconscious beliefs. And then you just show up different. You just feel and think differently. You react differently. Your automatic responses change to match the positive belief. And then your reticular activator changes because it's like buying a new car. And so you start seeing in life all the things that prove the positive true. And you start getting raises in your job because your boss notices that you're showing up. I mean, we've just seen this over and
Oh
over.
yeah. Yeah.
Magically, this thing happened, and then that thing happened. And that's how life works. So you can't manifest anything, all the people into manifestation and all that, law of
Right.
attraction, whatever. It's like, the reason that doesn't work is because of your beliefs. So anyway, this is my soapbox about beliefs for today.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good soapbox. It's a good one. Yeah. No, it's true though. Yeah, I've noticed over the last several months that yeah, things have switched, in certain areas. Not all of them yet. I'm still working on it. But there are definitely areas where I have, even in the last few weeks, have changed to the point that I'm in conversations where normally, a couple of years ago, those conversations would have been very triggering and very would have sent me down a rabbit hole of panic and despair and like and I would have and it's such an overreaction. I mean, Catherine would look we would have these conversations, she would say something that she would feel would be perfectly innocent in any other conversation, but she says it to me and all of a sudden I have this wild overreaction to it, emotional, thing. And so there's a lot of those that we've been able to neutralize, basically, I guess would be the word, right? Neutralize those. And so now I'm able to be more of an educated observer than a victim in those situations, which is really cool. And I'm like, believe me, there's still more. But
What sucks is
but
it never occurs like we're being a victim. It occurs like that's what reality is. That's why
right.
it's so tricky because we're literally in this reality, and then someone like
When
me
we
comes along and is like, "That's not reality." It's like, "What do you mean?"
Well, we defend it. It's almost like we defend the thought. We defend the fact that we're the victim, right? We defend
Right.
that, and because we don't want to feel like it's not real. Like you've got to acknowledge that that's a thing
Yep.
before you can nullify it or work through it or get
Yep.
past it. So it's not like that's not what we're doing here. We're not saying
Mhm.
that you didn't feel what you said you felt or you didn't
True.
experience that. It's that we want you
Did.
to acknowledge it so that we can move past it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have literally been a victim. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
like, yes, in trauma, we are victims, like, we are, and every experience is valid. I'm so glad you said that.
Yes.
Every experience is valid because part of the trauma is everyone invalidates it. We actually show
Right.
that it is, you experience more validation in your experience than you ever have before. That's kind of
Right.
funny, but you
Yeah.
do. And then it's like and you get to release those lies about yourself and you get to untangle from that so you
Mm.
can be free. You don't have to,
Yeah.
yes, you will always have had been a victim. That's kind of a weird way to say it, but you will always,
That's
that
always
will
in
be
your
your
past.
story,
Yeah.
right?
It's yeah.
Doesn't have to be what you walk in now. And if you're
Right.
willing to let go of that identity, which I know is a big thing, and it was for me, but if you're willing to let go of that identity to really, do I want to stay in my trauma or don't I? That's the choice. I was like, I mean, if I actually have a choice, I don't want to. This is icky. It is the worst. I hate it. Having PTSD
Yeah.
sucks. And then it was like, cool, healing is available. Yes, I want to step out of that. And when I really became free, not just coping,
Right.
I experienced that freedom, like that love and that safety here. Like
Yeah.
actually, and I was able to like let go of the trauma, and I was able to respond differently in life and feel differently about myself, and
Yeah.
it's just a beautiful thing. And that's what we all want when we're healing, is that, to be healed, to be
Right.
in love and safety, and to feel like we're restored to who we were that we lost. And
Yeah.
that's really what this is a restoration to who you really are at the core part of you, like your soul spark. That didn't change. That value didn't change. That lovability didn't change. Your worth didn't change just because this thing happened to you. And being able to disidentify with all of that that got piled on us after being born, and really come back to that core essence of who we are and who we're created to be, and getting the freedom to be that. That's what we're actually talking about. And
Yeah.
knowing that that's an unconditional value and unconditional love and unconditional worth in us, and being able to actually feel that. It's like removing the blocks that are in the way of you feeling loved.
Yes.
That's
Exactly.
that's it. That's all that it is. That's all that's missing.
I mean, when I went through when I worked through your program with you and Alicia and and man, uh, one of the coolest things, and I know that some people have the propensity to do this easier than others, but I know that you work with everybody on this. I I felt like I was able to just flip a switch at one point when I was ready.
Yeah.
When I could do it, I could flip a switch and say and know it in the core of my being that
Yeah.
I'm fully healthy. And I am fully healthy. And I could know that. And I know that some people have that, don't do that as easily because it's right. They
I
can't,
didn't.
like, well, yeah, like when we, like, back in the day when we were doing the thing you were doing early in your journey, which is let's cut out all this stuff and let's cut out gluten and dairy and eggs and wheat and all this stuff. And it was like, okay, we don't eat that anymore. Okay, it's dead to me. It does. We don't eat that anymore. It was no debate. It was like, oh, and our kids would be like, oh, French bread, in the warm French bread in the supermarket. I'm like, what? That doesn't exist. Moving on. Let's go. And so for me, it's kind of like that, but for other people, it's not. So I get that. But I actually have something that we could talk about for the next episode if you wanted to,
Okay.
which is, okay, I'm fully healthy, and
Now what?
this is, well, not quite. This is the Christian, the somebody that's a Christian might say something like this, harmlessly, but it could be impactful. So I want to just throw it out there, see if we want to do it for next time. Yes, I'm fully healthy, and yes, I've been through the program, and yes, I feel amazing, and I am fully healthy. And I'm not planning on any more brain surgery. 7, I'm calling it at 7, done. Unless God says different, because he's always in charge, right? So there's that debate of, well, God's ultimately the author of all this, and he
Oh,
knows what's going to happen. He knows the end of the story. So by proclaiming that I'm fully healthy and I'm never going to have to deal with this ever again, am I am I stepping on the toes there of
That's a
God,
good one.
which who
Okay.
really, who really writes the story? Am I trying to take that over? So that
I accept.
I don't know. Let's roll with that for next.
Yeah. Who writes the story? That's a
Who
good
actually, if I am fully healthy and I live with a condition that historically has required multiple brain surgeries because there's a mechanical device, that is according to the medical community regulating the flow of my cerebral spinal fluid.
right.
If where's the balance there?
Yep.
So,
It's a good one.
and there's other people out there that will probably relate to that too, that don't necessarily have the same, history of medical whatever, but I'm sure that'll resonate. So
Totally. I love it.
yeah.
Thanks for
Okay. Well,
your.
write that down so we remember for
I
next time.
did. I got
Okay,
it.
good. Yes. All right. Well, we got about 2 minutes left. What else? What do you want to close us out with?
Yeah. My invite is always for people to take action. That sounds cliche, so it's kind of funny. I'm saying it. Um, but it's like
It's true.
none of this is going to change if you continue to do the same things you've always done. And most people have told me I've tried so many different things, but when we really boil it down, it's just a different version of the same approach.
Right.
Not really something different. And so I invite you to have a conversation. We're very low key, no pressure. We're very custom tailored to each person and what needs to be said or done or discussed. So none of it's generic. And if you want to have a conversation to really gain clarity on why you're where you are and what there is to do to be in a different place, we can get clear on that. And we don't have high ticket sales. We don't have, our company works very different than any other company in the world. So
Yep.
we will just do what is highest and best for you, including if that's a donation based program or whatever that looks like. We'll create that together. So there's no reason not to reach out. And if you are stuck in a cycle of anything, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever, addiction, it doesn't matter. This is your invitation to gain healing.
And once you know how it works, you can't unknow it. so,
Yeah.
so that's why you have to be ready for it, because I swear, once you learn it, you can't unlearn it. So,
Yep. And it lasts
which
a
is
lifetime.
awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So,
Thank you, Jeff.
totally. Yes. Please scan the QR code and have that initial conversation, because it was life changing for me. It continues to be life changing for me. It's been life changing for my oldest daughter, who saw the results that I had with working with Michelle and said, "Whoa, Dad, what happened?" And so she worked with somebody within chronic illness solution as well, and now my wife has gone down that road. So I figure we'll just get everybody through the family. We'll just make it a whole family thing. So uh, you know. Now our youngest daughter is probably listening, going, "Oh crap, they're coming for me
I
next."
know. Yeah. Yes,
And
we are.
Nick's next after that. So look out, Nick. We're coming for you after Kasha. But yeah, no, it's all good though. It's such a cool thing, and I hope that everybody in our family gets to go through this, because I think it'll be so beneficial. So it'll be amazing. So anyway, thank you, Michelle. This is amazing as always, and I hope you learned something. I did. It's inevitable every time, so it's always good to be reminded of all this. So thank you so much, and I'm going to. Whoops! Oh, there we go. Got to push the right button. Going to take you off the screen, and then I will close out here. So appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. We'll talk here in a minute. Awesome. All right. Okay, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for um, spending this time with us, and being part of our community, and everything. Um, it's pretty awesome. What we're doing here and what Michelle is doing, and I'm so thankful that we connected, and I'm so thankful that we've continued to be able to do this and provide this for you. So we are, today's the 21st. So the next episode that we air will be May 5th. with Michelle will be May 5th. The next regular episode will be April 24th, which is Friday. So looking forward to seeing you then. And until then, have an amazing day, and we'll see you soon.